All right, so you ready to dive into some fascinating stuff?
Always. Lay it on me.
It's about the daily habits of those uh, super successful, wealthy folks. I'm sure, like me, you've wondered, right? What's their secret sauce? Like, is there something they do differently every day?
Yeah, it's a question that gets a lot of people thinking, and luckily there's been some, research into this. We found a really interesting episode, actually, from the Wealthy Mindset podcast
Oh, interesting.
called Five Daily Habits of Wealthy People that will be kind of, breaking down today. Get ready for some insights because it's not all about, working 24/7 like you might think.
No, exactly. And that's actually what caught my eye too. It's not what you expect. So they break it down into 5 habits, sort of like a journey through the day of a wealthy person, starting with, wait for it, waking up early.
The classic.
I know. You hear this one all the time, but they actually go a little deeper than just more hours in the day, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they talk about how waking up early lets these individuals kind of seize control of their day before all the chaos hits. It's like this time carved out for focused thinking, for intentional action, while the rest of the world is, still asleep.
Yeah, I can see that. Setting the tone, being proactive instead of reactive. But does this really apply if you're not, a CEO with a million things on their plate? Like, can the average person really benefit from this?
I think so, yeah. Think about it. We all have that period right after waking up where our minds are the clearest. And
Uh-huh.
capitalizing on those early hours, even if it's just for 30 minutes, can make a huge difference in your focus and productivity, no matter what your day looks like.
Okay, I'm starting to rethink my snooze button habit. So what comes after this early bird gets the worm routine?
Habit number 2 is setting clear goals. And not just financial ones, but goals across all areas of life.
Hmm.
Personal growth, relationships, health, the whole shebang.
Right. It's about having that roadmap, that vision for where you want to go.
Exactly.
I've always been a big believer in writing things down to make them more, concrete.
Absolutely. That's exactly what the podcast emphasizes. Writing down your goals transforms this like fuzzy idea into a tangible plan. It's like you're setting coordinates for your success journey.
And having those written goals, in front of you can serve as a powerful reminder to stay focused when those distractions inevitably pop up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got waking up early to set the tone and setting clear goals to chart the course. Ready for habit number 3.
Get me.
What's the next step in this daily routine of success?
This one might surprise you. It's practicing gratitude. Now I know what you're thinking. How does simply being thankful lead to wealth?
Yeah, I have to admit I was a bit puzzled by that one too. It seems a little, I don't know, out of place with the other habits.
Right. But the Wealthy Mindset podcast actually makes a really compelling argument. They explain that gratitude isn't just about, feeling good. It actually has a profound impact on your mindset and as a result, your decision making.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about how this works.
It's about shifting your perspective from scarcity to abundance. When you focus on what you already have, you're less likely to be, consumed by what you lack, right?
Hmm.
This reduces stress, negativity, which can cloud your judgment and make you miss opportunities.
So it's about clearing that mental clutter to make room for new ideas and a more positive outlook.
Exactly. It's like creating a fertile mental landscape for success to flourish.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection here. It's not just about feeling happy, it's about how that positive mindset can influence your actions and decisions. Okay, so what's next on the list?
Habit number 4 is all about investing and learning. The podcast emphasizes that wealthy individuals dedicate time each day to educate themselves.
Right, that makes sense. In today's world, things change so quickly, you have to constantly learn and adapt to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And this learning can take many forms, reading books, listening to podcasts, like, this one, taking online courses, attending industry conferences, you name it. It's about constantly expanding your knowledge base and honing your skills.
And they specifically mention that wealthy individuals dedicate time each day to educate themselves, almost like they're treating knowledge as a valuable asset.
Well, and it is. The more you know, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions, spot emerging trends, and adapt to new challenges.
So we've covered waking up early, setting clear goals, practicing gratitude, and investing in learning. That's already a pretty packed routine. What's the final habit that rounds out the picture?
The 5th habit focuses on the power of community, networking with, like-minded individuals.
Ah, the old, it's not what you know, it's who you know adage. But I have a feeling they delve a bit deeper than that.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about collecting business cards. It's about surrounding yourself with a supportive network of individuals who share your values and aspirations.
Yeah, I like to think of it as finding your tribe. Those people who get you, who challenge you to grow, and who celebrate your wins along the way.
I like that. That's a great way to put it. The wealthy mindset highlights how this kind of community can provide invaluable support and motivation, helping you stay on track and achieve your goals.
So it's not just about what you learn from these individuals, but also about the energy and inspiration they bring to the table. It's like having a built-in support system for success.
Precisely. They specifically mention that networking can be a source of motivation and support, helping you achieve your goals. It's about finding those people who understand your journey and push you to be your best self. So there you have it. Waking up early, setting clear goals, practicing gratitude, investing in learning, and networking with like-minded individuals. 5 habits that, when combined, create a powerful recipe for success.
And it's important to note that while we're talking about the habits of wealthy individuals, these principles can be applied to any area of life where you're seeking growth and fulfillment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's less about the pursuit of wealth itself and more about cultivating a mindset and a set of habits that contribute to overall success and well-being.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of your life and proactively shaping your future.
So for our listener out there who's probably thinking, this all sounds amazing, but where do I even begin? What's a good first step?
Oh, that's a great question. And it leads us to a really important point. You don't have to try to implement all 5 habits at once. Pick one that resonates with you and start small. Experiment with it for a week or two and see how it feels.
So maybe start with something simple, like setting aside 5 minutes each morning to write down your goals.
Exactly. Or maybe it's committing to reading for 15 minutes each day or reaching out to someone you admire for a quick chat. The key is to start small and build from there.
And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Even small changes can have a ripple effect over time. This has been such an insightful dive so far. We've covered so much ground, but I feel like there's still so much to unpack.
Oh, there always is. And that's the beauty of learning. It's an ongoing journey.
So as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listener with a thought-provoking question.
Oh, I love this. What is it?
Think about one small change you can make today to incorporate one of these habits into your life. What's one action, no matter how small, that you can take to start building these success habits?
It could be something as simple as waking up 15 minutes earlier tomorrow and using that time for quiet reflection. Or maybe it's making a list of 3 things you're grateful for right now.
The point is to take that first step, to commit to making a positive change, no matter how small it may seem.
Because even those seemingly insignificant steps can set you on a path toward a more fulfilling and successful life.
Yeah, it's about taking that first step and then, as you said, keeping the momentum going, not letting it fizzle out. And who knows, maybe that one small change will snowball into something truly remarkable. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's zoom back out and look at these 5 habits as a whole.
Yeah.
What's the common thread that ties them all together?
If you ask me, it's about cultivating a growth mindset. It's that belief in your ability to learn and adapt and ultimately achieve those goals.
So it's not just about like mimicking the actions of wealthy people, but rather understanding the underlying principles that drive their success, right?
Exactly. Take waking up early, for example. It's not about, joining some exclusive 5 a.m. club. It's about recognizing the value of those quiet morning hours, before the day gets going and using that time to your advantage.
Right. So for some people, that might mean waking up at 6 a.m. to fit in a workout before the kids are up. For others, it might mean staying up late to work on a passion project after the house is quiet. It's about adapting the principle to fit your own life and goals.
Exactly. And it's the same with setting clear goals. It's not about having some rigid set in stone plan, right? It's more about having a clear vision and using that to guide your actions.
I've heard some people say that setting goals is kind of pointless because life is unpredictable, right? Things rarely go according to plan. What would you say to that?
I'd say that that while it's true that life throws curveballs, having goals actually gives you a framework for navigating those unexpected turns. It's like having a compass. If you get off track, it helps you reorient yourself. Without goals, you're just drifting.
That's a great analogy. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of waking up early and setting clear goals. Now let's circle back to that habit that initially surprised me,
Mhm.
practicing gratitude. I'm still,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around how that fits into this whole success equation.
It's subtle, but it's powerful. When you practice gratitude, you're essentially rewiring your brain to focus on the positive. This reduces stress, which, as we know, can cloud judgment and really hinder creativity.
Right. So it's not just about feeling good. It's about creating a more positive and productive mental state.
Yeah.
Like that saying, where attention goes, energy flows.
Exactly. By focusing on what you're grateful for, you're essentially attracting more good things into your life. It's like a positive feedback loop that can have a huge impact on your overall success.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about investing in learning? It seems like a no-brainer, but I'm curious to hear how the Wealthy Mindset podcast frames this habit.
They really emphasize the importance of continuous self-improvement, always seeking to expand your knowledge, your skill set. They see learning as an investment, not just in your career, but in your overall growth as a person.
I like that perspective. It shifts the focus from simply acquiring information to actually using that knowledge to grow and evolve, right?
Yeah, and it highlights the fact that learning isn't just about formal education. It's about being curious, seeking out new experiences, challenging yourself to learn and grow.
Right. So it could be anything from reading a book on a new topic to taking a cooking class to even, traveling to a different country.
Exactly. It's about being a lifelong learner and embracing opportunities for growth wherever you find them.
Okay, and finally, there's the power of networking, which we touched on earlier. I think a lot of people have a misconception about networking. They see it as like schmoozing or just trying to get something from others.
Yeah, that's not what it's about at all. It's about building genuine connections with people who share your interests, values, and aspirations. It's about creating a supportive community.
I think, yeah, that's a key point, finding your tribe, surrounding yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you, and support you along the way.
Precisely. And the wealthy mindset emphasizes that this kind of network can be a really valuable source of advice, mentorship, even collaboration.
Yeah, I've experienced this firsthand in my own career. Some of the most valuable connections I've made have come from just being open to meeting new people and building those authentic relationships.
Exactly. It's not about attending every networking event or collecting 1,000 business cards. It's about nurturing those meaningful relationships.
So we've come full circle back to the idea of a growth mindset. These 5 habits, when viewed together, create a really powerful framework for personal and professional growth.
And it's important to remember that this framework is not exclusive to the wealthy. These principles can be applied by anyone, regardless of their background or their current circumstances.
That's such an empowering message. It means that we all have the potential to cultivate these habits and create a more fulfilling and successful life. But I know our listeners are probably thinking, okay, this all sounds great in theory, but how do I actually implement these habits in my own life?
That's a great question, and it's one we'll explore in more detail in the next part of our deep dive. We'll actually delve into some practical tips and strategies for incorporating these habits into your daily routine.
Sounds good. Looking forward to unpacking those practical tips.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we spent some time with these 5 powerful habits: waking up early, setting clear goals, practicing gratitude, investing in learning, and that whole networking thing, connecting with like-minded people. We talked about the principles behind them and how they can help us succeed, not just with money, but in all areas of life. But the big question I think everyone's asking is, how do I actually make these habits stick? How do I make them part of my daily routine?
Yeah, it's one thing to understand the ideas, but actually putting them into practice is where the magic happens, right? And the good news is it doesn't have to be this huge life overhaul. Even small, consistent changes can make a huge difference.
So where do we even begin? Like, what's a good first step for someone who's, ready to try these habits out?
Well, I think the key is start small. Don't try to do everything at once. Don't try to tackle all 5 habits right away. That can be super overwhelming, and you're more likely to just give up. Instead, pick one that really speaks to you and make a real effort to fit it into your daily life.
So, for example, if someone is really into that whole waking up early thing, they could start by setting their alarm just 15 minutes earlier than usual, right?
Right.
And use that extra time for something they actually enjoy, like reading or, I don't know, just enjoying a quiet cup of coffee.
Exactly. The idea is to make it a positive thing, something you look forward to, not something you dread. And then, once you get used to that new wake-up time, you can slowly adjust it until you hit your goal.
So what about setting clear goals? Any tips for making those goals, more concrete, less intimidating?
Well, I'm a big fan of the SMART goals framework.
Right.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. So instead of just having a vague goal like be more successful, you break it down into smaller, more specific goals, right?
Right, yeah, like launch a new product by December or increase my monthly income by 10%.
Exactly.
And don't forget to actually write those goals down. Keep them somewhere you can see them. That visual reminder can really help you stay focused.
Now, gratitude. This is a habit that's been really powerful for me, but I know some people struggle with it, especially if
Right.
they're going through a tough time.
Mhm.
Any advice for people who want to cultivate a more grateful mindset?
One thing I find helpful is keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, just write down 3 things, doesn't matter how big or small, that you're grateful for. It could be a sunny day, a good meal, a kind word from a friend, anything.
Yeah, I like that. It helps you shift your focus, right? From what you don't have to what you do have.
And it can be really powerful.
And don't forget about, actually expressing that gratitude to others. Taking a moment to thank someone, for their kindness can really make their day and it strengthens your relationships.
Definitely.
All right, so what about investing in learning? With all the resources out there, it can be kind of hard to know where to even start. Any tips?
I'd say start with your interests, and your goals. What skills are you looking to develop? What knowledge gaps do you want to fill? Once you have that figured out, then you can start exploring online courses, books, podcasts, even mentorship opportunities.
And don't be afraid to, try different things, experiment a bit. What works for one person might not work for another. The important thing is to find those learning methods that you enjoy that fit your lifestyle.
And it doesn't have to be expensive. There are tons of free resources available online. Think libraries, educational websites, even YouTube channels. You can learn a lot without breaking the bank.
All right, so we've talked about waking up early, setting goals, practicing gratitude, investing in learning, and now let's tackle networking. For people who are naturally more introverted, the whole idea of networking can be a little daunting. Any advice on how to make it, less intimidating?
Well, networking is really just about building real connections. It's not about forcing yourself into situations where you feel uncomfortable. Start with people you already know, friends, family, colleagues, former classmates.
Yeah, great starting point. You can also check out those online communities or groups that are related to your interests, right?
Absolutely.
Social media platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter, those can be really helpful for connecting with like-minded people.
And then when you do go to those networking events, focus on having real conversations instead of just trying to collect a ton of business cards. Ask questions, listen to what people have to say, share your own experiences.
It's about building those relationships, not just making transactions.
Exactly. And remember, networking is a skill. You get better with practice. It might feel awkward at first, but don't get discouraged. Over time, you'll get more comfortable, more confident.
So we've really dug deep into these 5 habits, and I think the main takeaway is success isn't about some secret formula or, an overnight change. It's about developing the right mindset and building habits that support growth and well-being.
And it's a journey. It's not like you reach a destination and you're done. There'll be setbacks, there'll be challenges. But the important thing is to keep learning, keep growing, keep striving to be your best self.
I love that. It's about enjoying the process,
Yeah.
enjoying the ride. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Just start today. Pick one of these habits that really resonates with you and commit to incorporating it into your life. It doesn't matter how small the step is, it can make a big difference in the long run.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Reach out to your friends, your family, mentors, join online communities, find your tribe. Support each other on this journey of growth and success.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found some useful insights and feel inspired to make positive changes in your life. Remember, success is not a destination, it's a journey.
And it's a journey we can all take together, one step at a time. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, keep striving for your best self.
See you on the next deep dive.